It took me like 2 hours to figure out how to get everything routed as far as like the HDMI and basically everything I needed to get footage on this. But I kind of wanted to do like a live guitar take for this, so it wasn't just kind of bland. There are 2 or 3 parts I changed. Here I changed, instead of going from first fret up to the fifth, somewhere around here, we just went straight up an octave to the 30th fret. So that would sound like, just to kind of give it a little bit more dynamic. And then I decided I wanted to keep this a little bit more chromatic. So like this part would just be like, something like that. And then the other part, I did a little bit of a breakdown over here, which is kind of choppy, which I thought was really cool. I'll just play that real quick here. I didn't realize I had the metronome on. So just some stuff I'm playing around with, because I wanted this to be more of a complete song. And then right after that, there's this little break right here. And then goes right back into the final riff, which is the first riff that we started with. So basically the main riff comes back, and it's just kind of like one of those gets stuck in your head, at least for me. So it's like here, there's a mini break, comes back here, mini breakdown, and then jumps right back to the final riff, which is the repeated riff. So I've got all of the effects tracks, like the synth tracks, muted right now, just because I want to kind of focus on hearing what I'm playing. And I know it's a little bit different because the guitar is in drop G, but this is going to be an E, so that's what we're kind of playing with. So if it comes off a little bit weird in the audio, it's because the guitar is supposed to sound like this. But then we've down-tuned it, so. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and track some of this. So we should be able to use most of that. Worst case, if there's like a take that's kind of weird. I know it's kind of frowned upon, but we could always, cut this up and then just kind of glue in what we need. One thing I did want to demonstrate though is guitar and bass. Take off the metronome. So remember, this is supposed to be, after it's all recorded, an octave lower. And that will give it way more depth. But we'll play around with it when we do like the final mix, because it might just be best to keep bass where it is now. Just kind of use the sub from the bass to fill in more space for the guitar. So we might just mess around and do that, honestly. All right, let's record this next part. Metronome back on. I actually forgot because I was trying to do it the old way. That's right, I did it chromatic. I keep forgetting that it was chromatic, so it just goes to 2-1. same thing. We should be able to use most of that. If there's like a better take, we'll just kind of steal it from the middle somewhere. Let's see. For this, if I were trying to do this real quick, I would just go ahead, copy and paste that. But I'm not going to be lazy today. We're going to do this the way it should be done. Cool. And like I said too, we can always go back when we do like the final mix, final edits, and tighten everything up here, kind of quantize everything. For this breakdown section, because there's so many like chopped parts, I'm probably just gonna note by note it, just so it gets clean, because especially like all the string noise, it kind of messes everything up. So we'll just try and go ahead and get a take, and what we could even do is just kind of grab it and chop everything up manually. So let's just kind of record it and see where we get with it. So yeah, right off the bat, there is a lot of string noise, but keeping it in this super choppy format, like I said, normally I would kind of do like a note by note, but to basically quantize it perfectly, I would go ahead and do something like this, just to make sure it sounds like super, super tight. And then obviously like line these up a little bit better. Something like that. Right there, I'll probably have to re-record that. So I'll just go ahead and then, like I said, we could always just cheat, grab that one, swap it out here. Sounds a little bit more open in the open note. Yeah, go ahead and get rid of him. For the time being, we'll go ahead and grab this. And like I said too, we'll make sure that's all clean when we quantize everything. And just to follow the rhythm of everything, we are not going to copy and paste that again. We're going to record it one final time. If I could remember how to play it. With that done, all we pretty much have to do is record the other guitar now. save some time, I will go ahead and just record everything else because you pretty much saw me do it for left guitar. I'm literally doing the exact same thing all the way through for right guitar. So really no point in kind of just doing that all over to basically make you watch what I did 2 times in a row. Okay, so now left and right are done. We will just go ahead and pan those. And you'll know everything's not perfect here. What I might do is just go ahead and quantize all this just for the sake of like hearing it back. Yeah, that sounded nice and thick. I kind of really do like the bass kind of being right where guitar is. I do kind of feel like if we threw it down here, it would be a little too much. To be honest with you, I'm really not going to be able to tell the difference on my monitors. I'm pretty much going to have to listen with the headphones to figure out what's going on there. But that will probably be in part 3. I plan on keeping this kind of guitars mainly, and then doing part 3 kind of like a full mix down and adding some like little effects. So that might be for that to play around with. So I just wanted to make a little note here. The files got corrupt when I went to go play everything back and start editing everything. One thing I noticed was that it literally just cut the last 2 videos that I had out. I had kind of chopped it up in sections because I dipped out when I did the recording of the second guitar and then tried to reload everything, and then things were kind of wonky. And then at the end I had like a final note and a final playthrough. So I just wanted to add this note here that got erased. So that's why there's no longer the second cam here, because the battery needs to be charged, and I really just wanted to kind of do this. I've also noticed that it was picking up a dry signal in the left ear, which I am going to have to go further and figure out what's going on with that. But with all of that out of the way, I wanted to give like a full playthrough of what I've got so far, so you guys can at least hear where we're at with it at the current time. So that's where we're at so far with it. I hope you all enjoy that, and we will pretty much do the mixing in the next one and kind of like finalize everything, add like some final touches and whatnot. And yeah, hopefully make this thing hit pretty hard.